welcome to this edition of our special series featuring the 51st edition of the International Film Festival of India. I'm Rukma, and over the next half hour I'll be taking you through all the events as they unfolded on day 3 of the International Film Festival of India, both on the red carpet as well as elsewhere. As our viewers are aware, the festival is being held in a hybrid format this time around, meaning both in a virtual mode as well as offering an in-person experience. Ever since the glittering opening ceremony on the 16th, the events have unfolded in rapid succession, with the screening of the opening film, Another Round, then the inauguration of the retrospective sections paying tribute to the cinema greats of India like the master filmmaker Satyajit Ray or the father of Indian cinema, Dada Saheb Phalke. And interestingly, people flocked in hundreds in order to watch these great movies, these great classics on the screens that have been organized all around Goa as is done every year. So join me on this journey as I take you through all that happened on day 3. In keeping with the tradition of paying homage and tribute to those great filmmakers who have laid the foundations of this art and craft in this country, the International Film Festival of India paid tribute to the father of Indian cinema, Shri Dada Saheb Phalke, by screening 4 of his most remarkable films, among them Lanka Dahan, Raja Harishchandra, as well as various others, and people flocked to watch them. On the 150th birth anniversary of Dada Saheb Phalke, the father of Indian cinema, IFFI paid tribute with a screening of 4 of his films. Present at the inauguration of this segment was Dada Saheb's grandson Chandrasekhar Pusalkar, who recalled the greatness of his illustrious grandfather and thanked IFFI for the honor.
The great star of the Make in India movement of 19th century. Make in India, we talk about that. And we say the independence, what Modi just said. Independence. Atmanirbharta. That also get started with the Raja Harishchandra, because Raja Harishchandra's only equipment and camera were from foreign, but everything was indigenous. So he has started an Atmanirbhar. He actually recognized the power of these 2 words 100 years back. And that Mr. Modi is. I am very happy for that.
We spoke to the many visitors of the festival who came there just for a viewing of the Grand Master's many classic works. Inauguration of Phalke Sahab's films in a short while. So your thoughts, he still continues to be relevant?
Of course, he is the father of our Indian cinema. So I am myself a filmmaker, so I aspire to learn from what he has done, because that is the heritage that we are part of. So that's why.
इस फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में काम करने वाले हमारे जैसे लोगों को ये हमेशा लगेगा कि ये रेलेवेंट है, और ऐसे महोत्सवों में अगर उनकी जो भी छोटी छोटी फिल्में हैं वो सब कुछ दिखाई जाए। ये तो आज पहली बार ऐसा हुआ है, लेकिन हम चाहते हैं कि ऐसे हर जगह दिखाई जाए।
What do you think of the relevance of Dada Saheb Phalke even in the present day?
No. First of all, we wanted to see the baby of the film industry. It's the first film made in India. First the invention. I am a scientist basically. So how technology has developed. Today so many things are there. Touch things happen. But it all evolved from these things. So we want to see the first child of the film industry. That's the industry.
I think it's a very good opportunity, I would say, because you don't get a chance to witness the work of Dada Saheb Phalke. So I actually wanted to witness what was the phase when Indian cinema started. So that's why I came to watch the movie Raja Harishchandra and Lanka Dahan and other movies.
दादा साहब फाल्के का वर्क अगर बिग स्क्रीन में देखने को मिल जाए तो फिर क्या ही चाहिए, इससे बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी तो और कुछ हो नहीं सकती है।
He was known in his heyday as a king of romance. And Biswajit Chatterjee is in the news again for all the right reasons. On the opening ceremony day of the 51st edition of the International Film Festival of India, Biswajit Chatterjee was named Indian Personality of the Year by Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Prakash Javadekar.
पुकारता चला हूँ मैं गली गली बहार की हारा चाहने वाला खुदा की
Veteran actor, director and singer Biswajit Chatterjee was announced Indian Personality of the Year by Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar during the inauguration of the 51st edition of the International Film Festival of India.
इस साल की एक महान हस्ती जिसको हम देते हैं जो फिल्म से पूरे जुड़े हैं और इस बार मुझे खुशी है कि इस साल का इंडियन पर्सनालिटी ऑफ द ईयर पुरस्कार बहुत प्रसिद्ध एक्टर, प्रोड्यूसर, डायरेक्टर, सिंगर इन हिंदी एंड बंगाली सिनेमा श्री विश्वजीत चैटर्जी को दिया जाता है.
Biswajit Chatterjee is a much loved actor. After films in Calcutta including Maya Mrigo in 1960. And Dui Bhai in 1961, Biswajit relocated to Bombay.
जुदा अपनी बाहों से होने न देगा मेरा प्यार वो है कि मर कर भी तुमको जुदा अपनी बाहों से होने न देगा.
In 1962, he performed in the film 20 Saal Baad, which was followed by Kohra, Bin Badal Barsat, Majboor, Kaise Kahun and Paisa Ya Pyar.
तुम्हें माँ चाहिए या पति चाहिए?
His filmography includes Mere Sanam, Shehnai, Asra and Night in London.
तो जिंदगी भर मेरी सूरत नहीं देख सकोगी.
किरण का जवाब न देना ही उसका फैसला है.
As well as Ye Raat Fir Na Aayegi, among others.
तुम्हारी नजर
Between acting in Bollywood movies, Biswajit returned to Calcutta to act in Bengali films as well.
तुम्हारी नजर क्यों खफा हो गई खता बख्श दो गर खता हो गई.
Among them are Chauringi in 1968 and other films with Uttam Kumar as well as Kuheli.
ये क्या नई आदत है? हमारी नकल उतार रही हो?
नहीं पिताजी, मैं तुम्हारी नकल नहीं उतार रही.
अच्छा, आपसे तुम कहना भी सीख गई, सब भूल गई. अच्छा, बख्शिश.
ओह, समझ गई.
And much later, Shriman Prithviraj in 1973, Jai Baba Taraknath and Amar Geeti in 1963.
कहीं दीप चले कहीं है यहाँ दिल वाले और प्यार नहीं.
Apart from acting, Biswajit also sings and performs in concerts.
की वफा का इकरार नहीं मिलता.
The Union Minister said that the award will be conferred on Chatterjee in March along with the National Film Awards.
कभी भी न इसका फसाना बनेगा.
It's time now for a short break. We'll be right back with more on the other side. So keep watching our special feature. The Indian Panorama section saw the screening of an interesting film, Gatham, a Telugu film that has been made and starred in by a couple of young NRIs. It falls into the category of independent film and is being praised and is winning accolades from all over, not just for the content, because it is a psychological thriller, but also because of its technique. Take a look. We spoke to the cast and crew.
నా వల్ల గతం మర్చిపోయి నా ఇంటికి వచ్చారు.
Sir, you were an IT professional, what we have read about you and what we know about you. How was the journey, you know, shifting from an IT professional to film industry and doing this film in no time? How did this happen?
So actually, you used past tense there. I'm still an IT professional. Yes. So this is my
You will be always.
So this is my moonlighting, if you will. Okay. We did this over winter holidays. So in December, we took about 16 days off. Okay. And then we had 5 more schedules of 2 days, 3 days each. We did this entirely over the weekends. Wow. Okay, so this is how we made the movie. So total was 26 days. But we worked around 20 to 22 hours. So it's actually, if you look at it, it's close to 50 to 52 days.
And what inspired you to do this movie?
So we made a short film back in 2016, A Winter to Remember, right? And that got great accolades and and reviews from Telugu film industry. Some big directors like Harish Shankar, Kodan Ram Reddy. They saw the short film and gave us like awards and all. So that gave us some confidence, and so in 2018 we started it as a small budget indie film. But after the first schedule, the visuals and all are mind-blowing, came out mind-blowing, and from there it just took off. Right, people started coming in and said like, we'll give you money, you know, let's do it. So we had to hold off a lot of people. But one fun fact is, there are about 500 people who actually contributed to this movie in terms of money. They're co-producers, if you will, like $50, $100. So we did crowdfunding.
Right. Thank you so much for saying.
Another film that is being much talked about in the 51st edition of IFFI is In Our World, which talks about autism spectrum disorder. It deals with the entire spectrum of experiences that not just the persons or persons suffering from the disease suffer, but all those around them. And what autism is basically all about. It is a documentary, but there is no voice over, and it touches the heart. So take a look at what we learned when we saw the screening.
Rests a canvas of big, little joys, waiting to be explored. In our world.
Sridhar, what is In Our World? What are you trying to showcase?
It's a non-feature film. It is based on autism. The whole idea was to create awareness and to break the misconceptions that surround this condition called autism. What we tried to do through this film was to select three children and their parents, therapists, as well as special educators, to come onto camera and speak about their lived experiences and about their everyday lives, so that through their message people could understand what the difficulties are, do they face, what are the difficulties they face, and also see and understand every behavioral problem which we kind of see as taboo in real life, and understand that these children are not what they or we believe them to be. They are looking for love, they are looking for acceptance. So that is the whole overall idea of the film.
Right. Sridhar, I'm sure it was not an easy task to work with all the family members and including those children. So how was the experience, if you could share?
To be honest, I would like to thank the parents who actually allowed me to take their message forward. I'd like to thank these children, even though without speaking they spoke a lot of words through the film. And I would like to say that it was very difficult to take a crew with camera, with lights, into their homes, because they are these children get irritated with equipments, a lot of people around. So it was important for us to kind of make sure that we are there before. So we befriended the child, we were with the child, we played with the child before we actually started filming. So that was our experience on this film, and I'm grateful that these parents thought that this message need to go to other parents, the would-be parents and the parents who are already having children in the autistic spectrum, to understand how they can intervene earlier, how they can kind of give the children the help to kind of overcome this difficulty.
Right. In our world, part of IFFI's 51st edition, what are the feelings?
I would say I'm honored. Like, I would say that it's a great thing that IFFI has done by taking a film of this nature, especially about a topic which was always kept under the carpet. People are still keeping it away from the general public, primarily because there's a lot of reluctance to accept that our child is going through this. Right. So I'm very honored and happy that it got selected.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Shrida.
Most welcome.
Another major film that was screened on day 3 was Window Boy, who would also like to have a submarine. The director himself was here, Alex Piperno, and our team went and had a chat with him as he addressed the media and spoke about his film and the vision behind it and the message that he wanted to convey.
Ya nak kita ni kita an apung, kita nak uban je wacha.
Mirando a estrella, voy hacia el sur, voy hacia el sur.
It's also one of the few festivals that I could come with my film after the premiere in Berlin and Biarritz. This is the third one. I can happily be with the film, so it's a pleasure for me. And it's also nice to hear you talking about the film, because I was laughing to myself while I was hearing you, because it's so nice and it makes a lot of sense when somebody other think and talk about the film, which is something I cannot at all can do with clearness. So it's now listening to you, I understand better the film, and that's nice. Finally. So it was nice to hear you. Yes, and as I said in the introduction of the screening yesterday, I am from Uruguay, and I live, or used to live, I don't know, after COVID, in Argentina, which they are like this, in Buenos Aires. The cities are separated by a 3-hour ferry, and when I was firstly arrived in Buenos Aires, in this ferry I discovered that I had 2 parallel lives, one in Montevideo, the old one, and the new one in Buenos Aires, and I understood that this ship was a fantastical ship that could connect these 2 parallel lives, and so it was also possible to connect any other places with this ship. So I discovered it was a fantastical ship, and that was the origin, as we talked, of at least the first image, or the revelation of, okay, this is a film I had like 10 years ago. So it's true, it's about encounters, or also disencounters, which is the same, right? And also about the fantasy that one may have about staying in other place, or in your fantasy. I mean, if you find a door, where would you go? And at the other side of the door is the same. So also that feeling of that frustrating but also liberating feeling of understanding that there's nothing else but what we are surrounded by. So even if it's a fantasy film, a fantastical film, it's not. I feel it is like a naturalistical in a way, because it's like the fantastical proceedings, or let's say the poetical elements are like how to say, resonation of what we already know and experience in everyday life. This is my first time in India. I've been here for 3 days, so it's still new I can only talk about the food, and which is nice, and also the very warm audience and welcome my heart. So I am very again pleased and happy to be here.
This is in so many ways for me. It's also like my debut film as a producer. It was a really big challenge, production-wise. We shot in 2 different continents in 4 different countries in a period of 2 years, so it was a long process. It was a very hard process and difficult to put together. So it's like he said, to be here, it kind of makes sense for us to be showing the film here, since we shot in a big part of the movie we shot in the Philippines, which for us is here it's like we're in the middle point between Argentina and the Philippines, but for us it was the other half of the world. I mean, if we would get further away, we would be closer to home. So it makes a lot of sense to be here, and like he said, like yesterday, the audience was very warm, and we got the sense that the film was getting through, and it made sense for the audience here too. So that means a lot. So thank you.
Mejor vivir la soledad que hay en mi camino, me ayuda a oír el ruido del mar bajo este cielo.
Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of our special series on the 51st International Film Festival of India.